Let's bring in Paul Cheung now. He is the president of the Asian American Journalists Association. Joins us now from New York. And Paul, why don't we start there? I mean, we know how this works. You have to have copy editors go through it. Somebody has to look at the video before it goes on the air. How did this get on the air?
You know, it's shocking to me that this come out from a news network. You know, as all of us who work in the news industry, you know, where are the standards and where are the ethics in this segment? And who are the producers and the EP that greenlight this segment? And again, I just really dumbfounded at it went through so many layers and it got on air. It is completely irresponsible.
Paul, I want to talk to you about kind of what we're seeing, kind of a pattern. You know, at the Oscars, we saw another racist skit aimed at Asian stereotyping with comedian Chris Rock. Then the Academy CEO wrote an apology letter that said, quote, "Certainly was never the Academy's intent to offend anyone." Bill O'Reilly said, "Oh, it's just gentle fun." I want to get your thoughts on first the offensive material and then these kind of tone-deaf, less than heartfelt apologies. What's more frustrating for you?
Well, I think these apologies is utterly unacceptable. And it's 2016. We could be funny without using antiquated stereotypes. And I think part of the issue is, you know, Asian American in the United States are always being viewed as perpetual foreigners. So we're never at the top of mind when we think about racial tensions, that we too are a community of color.
I just brought up the Oscars, of course, this episode on Fox as well, but every 2 to 4 years we also see offensive political ads popping up, and I was thinking, you never get away from this stuff. Other minority groups, it seems like that people would never even think of doing this. Why is it okay to pick on Asians?
You know what, I'm not going to comment on the other minority groups, but as far as Asian American, I think because we are one of the smaller minority group in the U.S., I think people just think is okay. And again, I think the perception is that we're not vocal. We're foreigners. We don't belong here. And as you can tell, this time is not true. A lot of Asian American groups, you know, really got together and voiced their concern and really, you know, went back to Fox News and demand this apology that we have yet received.
And Paul, you're a journalist. There are plenty of Asians that are journalists. I work with several. Do you suspect there's a problem at Fox in terms of diversity? I would think if somebody showed this to you, you'd say, this can't go on the air. Somebody would have flagged it. Do you think that's also an issue with Fox?
Well, I don't think diversity issue is unique to Fox News in general. I mean, I think if you look across the industry, the number of Asian American in media is, you know, far and few in between, and I think the entire industry could do better with diversity, especially with Asian Americans. And I think one thing that's important to know is, you know, having Asian American in senior leadership position is important because at the end of the day, you know, it's the senior news leader that's being held accountable.
And Paul, what type of backlash do you think Fox is going to continue to see as a result of this?
Well, I mean, already you could see a outpouring from different community groups, from OCA to All Deaf to the various congressmen and mayors in New York and San Francisco making the statement. I hope this is a teachable moment for Fox News to really understand that, you know, there is a fine line between satire and news, and what they produce is anything but, you know, not news.
And Paul, what's the lasting damage of something like this?
Well, I mean, when you think about, you know, using antiquated stereotype for a group, the long-lasting damage is really harmful. When you think about, you know, in the 80s with Vincent Chin to something more recently with Private Danny Chen, who was born in China, who grew up in Chinatown, you know, because of these racial stereotypes and racial slur, one was murdered, the other one, you know, had to kill himself for it. And this is the consequences. And you know, death is no laughing matters.